Doesn't get much better than that, folks. You're live with a special Locked On football reaction show, UConn 47, Buffalo 3. Come join me. You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On UConn, guys. I am super stoked. I just watched that entire game. Fantastic. What a absolute dominant performance by the UConn Huskies. I couldn't be happier. I know a lot of you guys went. I know we were giving away tickets. So if you went and saw that game, couldn't have been a better situation for you guys. But that's been the case for UConn throughout this homestand. You know, obviously it's still only 2 games, but holy cow. I thought, what a phenomenal game that I have to give credit, and we're going to kind of go through this. UConn 47, Buffalo 3. When I did the show last week with our TNT football podcast guys, they were more confident than I was that this game was going to be more on the FAU side versus, say, a closer game because of Buffalo's defense, all the different things we heard about Jack Dolak, the linebacker. Hell, the CBS guys were talking about how amazing he is from start to finish. Even in a blowout. So I take nothing away from him. I'm sure he's a fantastic linebacker, but they made him a non-factor today, and that was what we're going to get into, which is Gordon Samus, Matt Brock, phenomenal on both sides of the ball. In a game where you lose your quarterback, things are rolling, and Nick Evers, I think he has a concussion. I didn't hear if that was the case. I watch a lot of games with the sound down, so sometimes I deal with kids and stuff like that. So if I'm wrong on that, please check me in the comments. If he doesn't have a concussion, if he was just shaken up or whatever, but it looked like he was concussed. So at that point, you're up 13-0. They get a field goal. Fagnano comes in and does a phenomenal job in backup duty, like he has all year. If he is concussed, I wouldn't beg to or I wouldn't. You probably wouldn't see. Sorry, I'm all jazzed up. This has been a phenomenal game. It's also my birthday, so what a great birthday present. So let's talk about the game itself. The flow of the game was phenomenal. Like, they controlled everything. The line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They amassed 537 total yards to Buffalo's 198. So they didn't even give it 200 yards of total offense. Like we always talked about, Fagnano coming in 217 yards and three passing touchdowns. But how about Skyler Bell, guys? Skyler Bell, 3 touchdowns. Been yelling that he needs to get the ball even more, because when you get the ball in his hands, great things happen. And just phenomenal play on his part, breaking tackles, just showing his breakaway speed. Is it me, or does he look like a carbon copy of Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals? I think that's his comp in terms of kind of the way they try to use him, because he got that 40-yard touchdown pass because he juked somebody out of their shoes and was able to kind of break away. But for the most part, a lot of his touchdowns are, shorter passes where he breaks away almost like a running back. So, and how about the trio of running backs? Cam Edwards, Darrell Robinson, Mel Brown. I don't think you can give them enough credit. I think no matter who they brought in there, even when Joey was in there versus Nick, and there wasn't that running presence from the quarterback side, they were using those stretch run plays phenomenally well. I just there's so much praise, but let's talk about specifically the rushing attack. 257 more rushing yards today, 46 attempts, averaging 5.6 yards per rush. In contrast, Buffalo managed only 75 rushing yards on 27 attempts, under 3 yards a carry. That's something we brought up last Friday too, that Buffalo only averaged about 3.5 yards a carry, and they kind of true to form, UConn's defense really stepped up and dominated the Bulls today. The way they played today, I think we should have played the Buffalo Bills. I mean, let's be honest, right? Give us some competition. But first downs, absolutely dominant, moving the chains 28 times compared to Buffalo's 12. Didn't have a turnover in this game, which I love, and I know the coaching staff loves. Buffalo did have a turnover late on that interception, which was a phenomenal play by the safety. Time of possession, 30, I think it was 35 to 25, somewhere in that range, maybe a little more for Buffalo. I came up here when there was about a minute to go, so I don't know if Buffalo turned the ball over at the end. Efficiency on third down. UConn was much better on third down, converting 7 of 16. Buffalo struggled significantly on 1 out of 14. If you were betting on the live game on either FanDuel or wherever you bet, you could have made a fortune today just redoing, hey, Buffalo's going to punt on this next drive, because they did more times than not. And that was the story. Defensive dominance. Can we talk about Matt Brock and his scheme? The 3-3-5 that everyone was kind of like, I don't know if we should play this yet. It is showing exactly why he wants this defense to run it. Because multiple times you had D linemen dropping back, whether it was Jelani or my guy Jack Barton dropping back to get PBUs and blocking passes. I just you just don't see that a lot in college. And I think that that's a big part of why they've been so successful, is they've been able to kind of start early, and then they just scheme them out, and they have the team has no idea what they're going to end up doing. So that you got to give a ton of credit to Matt Brock and his defensive staff. Antonio Wilcox, the running back coach, can we get this guy a raise? I mean, all of these guys are elite college running backs. Whether you have Cam in there, whether you have Mel Brown, whether you have Darrell Robinson, it seemed like whoever got the ball, they were getting 4, 5, 6, 7 yards almost every play. Even when Joey was in there and he wasn't a threat to run. The offensive line, guys, oh my God. If, NIL is a thing now. So if Joey and Nick have a lot of money in the bank right now, take your offensive line out to dinner this weekend, sometime soon. You owe them a big steak dinner. I don't know. Take them to someplace in Hartford that's a steakhouse. I'm sure there's recommendations. Crush that bill and just thank them for exactly what this is. Got some comments. Happy birthday. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. This is from another Mark. We'll get him on here. Great 2 weeks. I love them playing this way with that chip now. Yeah, I mean, that was the key at the start, is that it started like chippy from the start. I saw Joe Arruda and some other folks on Twitter post that there was, like an edge to this. And I guess Buffalo was chirping. And then when the game started before at noon, you saw Jim Mora. I wish I was in the press conference right now, because I'd love to find out why he went kind of nuts and went after someone. And I'm surprised at the end of the game, when they had a chance to go put 50 on the board, that they didn't actually try to kick a field goal with about 40. I mean, our guy Freeman was he 3 for 3 today? Having a lot of confidence. Love his interview with my guy Jared Kotler, and about what it's been like to kind of come back from the initial misses and everything like that. So a lot of credit to him. But I'm surprised they didn't give him a shot at a longer field goal to kind of see if he could put a 50 burger on, considering the chirpiness at the chippiness at the beginning of the game. All right. Is anybody in the chat interested in being in the drawing for the game next week? Because we have tickets. I already have them in my in my queue, and I can send them over to whoever wins today. I have about 20 folks that are off of the show right now that have reached out to me and everything. That went, all right, Mark, let's do this. So Mark Sacuso, I hope I'm saying your name right. There we go. Let's do that now, guys. So, all right. So I have my original 20, and we'll have Mark S is in there. Sorry if you're watching this and you're like, what is he talking about? Master Shogun, you're in. And Ray, you're in. Okay. I'm going to give it like 5 more minutes and see if anyone else wants to jump on and win tickets. But if anyone was there and they wanted, I'll open it up. I'm going to put an invite in the chat right now. And if you guys want to jump on, you do not have to come on screen. You can be in the audio only. It gives you that option. Feel free to jump on the show, kind of like a radio show to jump on and give your thoughts. I'd love to hear it, especially if you were there, or if you live in Connecticut and you want to give some shout out to folks that went or told you about tailgates, whatever. I don't care. Jump on the show. But I was just so impressed with this team from all facets of the game, in particular with the offensive and defense coordinators. So I got to give a ton of credit to Jim Mora. I've been critical of him to start. I felt like they weren't aggressive enough at the beginning of the season, but they have completely turned this season around, and they've also changed their entire kind of persona. We talked about this on we had Dave Benedict on about how excited we are about this, about UConn NAL and the opportunity that people have now to come to UConn and play in great facilities, and that we're turning ourselves into a power football team, in respect of, are we going to get an invite to a P4 or P3? I don't know, guys. I mean, it looked pretty damn good about the Big 12, a month ago. Now that's kind of like dormant. The better we play this season, if you don't think that Brett Yormark is watching every single one of our games and sending progress reports to the rest of those teams that didn't want us, you're crazy. It's 100% what it is. And I know there's some talk about Pac-12, for football. Look, Pac-12 wants us for everything. They want us to ditch the Big East, which is not going to happen. If you're going to ditch the Big East, it's got to be for a Power 4 conference that you 100% know is going to get you that revenue share that you want from the media rights. So when you get to that revenue share model, which is what David and I talked about last week, they're set up for success. So this team right here is doing the entire UConn athletic department a solid by playing their asses off and being dominant. Not just squeaking by, not just beating Merrimack, 14-10, or, beating FAU 10-7, or, 21-6 today. It is utter dominance. I'm going to see if I can find it. I took a picture with my phone and I left it downstairs. But I took a picture of the of what they're averaging. And let's see if I can sync it, my phone from before. So it looks like, yeah, there it is. I'm not going to be able to pull this up, but UConn is averaging before today. So this will change a little bit, but it'll still be about 50-point average. 52.6 points per game at home. Their opponents are averaging 11.3 points per game. Their total offense is 551 to 214. So they're outgaining their opponents by almost 350 yards. Absolute dominance. Yes, 100%. And before the game, I don't know what happened with the Buffalo coach during the game. I don't know if Mora has some beef with him now, but before the game, those comments by Buffalo's head coach were, so Herman and Lembo, I think his name is, they both made great comments about, like, man, like, what are these guys doing in stores? Like, it looks like a totally different team. But I also talked about this in the show last Friday, which is the guys that have been at UConn, not the NIL guys that came in late, not the 50 plus transfers. The guys that came in late, that all these coaches are all of a sudden going, man, what's going on with UConn? They don't look like the same team. If you don't think those players also go, man, I was here. I was at UConn before all these transfers came in, and I've been working my tail off, and we feel really good about our program now. That 100% has given a boon to this team, and I think all of those guys, and those guys might be the backups. They may be, whatever, but at the same time, those players are not, they're not trash. Like, these guys are working hard for their spots, and that if someone challenges you, you got to step up, or you'll go by the wayside. So, all right, let's do this. Let's do this raffle. Let's see if one of you guys on here of the three. Does anyone else want to jump on before, I got three people on here, obviously that live close enough that they'd go to the game next week. Let's get the details on that. Pull up my email. Big Larry was kind enough to donate his tickets again. So if you are on this stream and you win these tickets, I will message you right now and obviously we'll tell you on the show, but you have to contact me because I will send you those tickets tonight. And then we're going to mail you the parking pass. That's the only piece that's like not electronic, and Larry has to do that. So if you can get all that information to me tonight, that would be ideal. So let's look at the opponent and where we are going to be going with this. As a matter of fact, if you're in the chat and you want to be a part of this raffle, and I've got Mark S, Master Shogun, and Ray. If you want to send me an email to lockedonucon at gmail.com, definitely do so that I can get you those tickets ASAP. It's next Saturday at 3:00, October 5th, against the Temple Owls. That's a game we should win right there. Should be on a 3-game win streak. So let me get that going now. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. Random number generator. I wish I could do this like live and the name would pop up. But sorry, guys. I don't really have that. Let's see. All right. So we have 25 folks. Let's go. Let's see what it is. Let's see whose number that is. All right, guys. Let's see. Oh, let's do one more. That one screwed up. Let's do it. Master, Mark, S, and Ray. Okay. Let's do it. It's 15. Oh, man. Nobody on the stream won. I apologize. But it is kind of a UConn legend. And I'll tweet out who it is. It is none other than Hot Sauce Guy, Penfield, for the win. So congrats to him on winning the tickets. I really appreciate anybody that is going to keep doing. We're going to keep doing this all year, guys. So if now that you're in, you're in. So like even like Master Shogun, you were in already. I think Mark. That's probably the first time I saw you entered. Mark Sakuso and Ray, you were entered before, but I got you again here. So yeah, I mean, right now there's not a ton of people that have entered the contest, if you will. So now that you're entered, you have a great shot to win again, or win next week. So yeah. Ooh, that's interesting news. The Caden's dad at UConn practice as we speak. Interesting. Look, guys, I don't think we're gonna get like a super class with UConn basketball, but I'm putting nothing past Dan Hurley and his staff. I know what I know. I don't have any updates on that. I think Darius Adams is going to announce for us tomorrow. But outside of that, I'm not sure. Does that mean a Caden would be out or Braylon would be out? Absolutely not. So we'll see. This is also true. Nothing like a legitimate football team effort to silence the haters that don't want UConn to have an opportunity in a conference realignment scenario. Nick, I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, we said that earlier in the show that it's not like UConn squeaking by. They are dominating teams they should dominate. I heard Jim Mora say it post game when the reporter from CBS said, "What crazy game? You guys dominated." But he said, "That's what we expect." He's like, "Nothing against Buffalo, but like we expect to dominate. We expect to win these types of games." And I can't tell you how much that's music to my ears because I was so frustrated after that Duke game that felt like, we put an ACC school and we kind of almost won. Screw all that. No more of that. We're here. What's the old Conor McGregor line? I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over. And that's the way UConn football should be about because that's how our basketball team is. Both of our programs are 100% about taking over. So love that mentality from Mora. So let's go. Let's see. What's up, my man? Another Mark. Live in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Hope you were safe with all the hurricane stuff. I know we didn't really get hit directly, but Asheville got crushed. So if any of our Husky Nation is down here in North Carolina, Tennessee area, Virginia, it's been a brutal 48 hours. So hope everything's cool with Mark Saki. Absolutely love being down in North Carolina and bleeding blue, as you can see. But yeah, listen, I'm not going to do a long show today. I just wanted to come on and say I am absolutely enamored with this team right now. And again, I'm so excited to do a reaction show every time now because people are into it. I know it's a Saturday afternoon. People are probably just out and about, so we don't have a ton of people on the stream, but I don't care. Hope people will come back and watch. But I hope Nick Evers is okay. But it also gives me comfort that Joey Fiano is there if he can't go, and it's got to give Jim Mora a lot of just peace of mind to continue to run him and continue to play the offense the way that they want to do it with Nick, and know that they can kind of flip the script. So I'll say this: Gordon Samus. That is I was so critical of him at the start of the year that if I was him, I would tell me to go F myself. But I'm going to eat crow here because Gordon Samus is a phenomenal offensive coordinator. Do you know how hard it is to have a team that it reminds me, and I'm going to bring up basketball again, to have a team that can change the way that they play specifically to their leader or to who's on the floor or on the field. So I'm going to give you an analogy. When UConn was without Donovan Clingan early in his career because he had a foot issue, they had to learn how to play with Samson Johnson and not kind of play back on pick and roll. They played a totally different style pick and roll defense, and with that comes specific rotations for each player. And so when you play with a running quarterback or a read pass, a RPO type quarterback, and then you go to more of a traditional pass protection from that perspective, it's insane to me that they were able to be equally as dominant with Nick as they are with Joey. And so that is a kudos to this coaching staff and to Gordon Samus and his ability to just flip the switch. Okay, Nick's out. We're going to do some of the same stuff that we do with Nick, but the reality is that it's not going to work the same because Joey's not the same threat. So now let's do a little more traditional play action, throwing the ball down the field, more kind of quicker outs to wide receivers, more stretch plays without any real threat of a play action because of that. So I will 100% eat crow on that and saying that he wasn't that great of an offensive coordinator, didn't feel like he was the best play caller. That's gone. Over the last 2 games, he has proven me a moron. And I'm always going to be the first one to say it. If you guys want to agree with me, cool. If you don't, I'm being too hard on myself. But I am so pumped about the way Gordon Samus is calling the games. He was in his bag today. He was in his bag against FAU. And then flip it over to Matt Brock, coming from Mississippi State, right? Am I wrong? I'm going to look that up because I feel like someone will check me on that. Matt Brock, defensive coordinator. Yep, he was at Mississippi State. Now, look, Mississippi State isn't a juggernaut, but they are in the SEC and they play good football there. I think he was fantastic today. Fantastic. That's the best defense I've ever seen them play in this 3-3-5 because they didn't give up a touchdown. They played with a chip on their shoulder. The secondary played tough. The defensive line was phenomenal. Like I said, shout out Jelani Stafford, Jack Barton, Langston Hardy with 2 sacks, Kevin Hardy's son. Love saying that. It's so cool to see that he's on our team. I think let's look at really quick before we jump to what this schedule is like and what's left for us. We play home against Temple. That's a win. I'm just calling it right now. If you don't think Wake Forest on October 19th, after we have a bye, is a win, get off this stream right now. They are going to beat up Wake Forest because Wake Forest is not that good of a football team. They are worse than Duke, and we are rolling, and it's at home. That should be a win. Okay, so that's 4-2, 5-2. They're going to beat Rice, 6-2. Georgia State should be a win, 7-2. UAB should absolutely be a tough game, but I think we can win that game. They look worse and worse every week after playing Arkansas tough. 8 wins right there. Then Syracuse, I'm going to give Syracuse a win there, 8-3. I think we could legitimately get 9 wins this season. I said I had them at 8-4 to start the year, but I think of being 9-3 is not out of the question. We have too many weapons. Our defense is playing tough. We don't have to be perfect like we were, today. But man, just a phenomenal day today. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my birthday and wear all my UConn gear out tonight when we go have celebratory drinks. And all I can say is, stay locked in, guys. Go check out my show. Remember, all of my revenue, not all, sorry, 10% of my revenue. I wish I could give it all. Yeah, I got to keep some for myself. 10% of my revenue goes to Store Central, UConn NIL, Bleeding Blue for Good. Really appreciate everybody that follows me, and really appreciate all that you guys do to support the show. So go follow me on all my socials too. I'm out there. You can kind of see my crazy ass with my kids and all the stuff I do. So really appreciate everyone. As always, guys, this has been another episode of Locked On UConn, live reaction show version. Go Huskies, bleed blue.